Hello, my name is Robbie Fitzwater. I am the owner and operator of Marketing Rhythm. We are a business that helps e-commerce businesses with retention and email marketing. We focus most of our attention on retention because it's such a unique space, and we always feel like it's pretty underlooked or undervalued for a lot of e-commerce businesses, but it represents a really unique opportunity. So this is going to be a topic near and dear to my heart today. So basically, at a high level, what is retention marketing? Retention marketing is a strategy of focusing on marketing to existing customers that basically seeks to maximize the lifetime value of each of those customers, to basically bring in customers back into your business to purchase from you again. Doesn't have the same high acquisition costs that it does to bring in a first-time customer, and it also gives you a lot of opportunity because once you've sold them once and they've had a good experience, the likelihood of them purchasing again is a lot higher. They've already experienced your business, not just your marketing. They've experienced your business and your services before, so they know what they're going to get. There's a lot fewer questions they need to ask, and bringing an existing customer back in is typically a lot more profitable for the business. So it's again an important component of any business. Um, Retention marketing kind of looks the at the business a little bit differently. So retention marketing looks through the lens of the customer experience and as it relates to goods, services, memberships, and anything else you're going to provide, and really works to kind of align that customer experience, make that customer experience as seamless and as valuable as possible. And what makes it really unique is that way that you can really start to think about that customer experience, what's going to be most valuable, what they're going to enjoy, and what's going to create the least amount of friction and the most amount of value, and how to holistically look at that is kind of like where we always have a lot of fun. So kind of another question is like, why start retention marketing? Like, I'm doing a lot of things in marketing. Why should I focus on retention? And like I mentioned earlier, this is the most profitable area of your business. I recently did a talk at the Really Good Emails Unspam conference, which again, Really Good Emails, Rockstar Group, Rockstar Conference, amazing. So add a link in the notes, and also add a link in this blog post. But basically, talking about, hey, this is our most profitable way to grow is because we can get people to purchase multiple times. And again, that's a lot more cost effective than paying for that acquisition each and every single time. This is why direct to consumer experience is so powerful, is because we can suddenly drive purchase and loyalty and get that person to come back in and develop a relationship that's strong enough that they want to purchase from us, not purchase from somebody else or purchase somebody else's good. They want to purchase from us. So like if you're selling a lot of products on Amazon, they're not technically your customers, they're Amazon's customers. They may be buying your products again, but you don't have a real direct mechanism to actually drive that purchase again. And you don't really have a way of connecting with them outside of Amazon. So again, they're not your customers, they're Amazon's. This is where I think direct to consumer is so powerful and so unique, is because it allows us to really think about how we're going to align that experience as best as possible. How are we going to find value and add value? And then also, how do we bring them back in? We own that relationship, which makes this really unique. And it's becoming a more and more a kind of elegant way of looking at it, but it's also adding to a lot of customer value and a lot of great customer experience, because everybody's expecting a little bit more and experiences are improving. And to keep people coming back in the door, you really have to step up your game, which isn't always easy, but it's really, again, valuable to do. Um, Also, people are typically a lot more willing to purchase from you a second time as they are to purchase from the first time. Like I said, they've already have all the information they need. They know what your experience is going to be like. They know what your product offering is going to be like in the wild. And if it's a good experience in terms of the product, they're going to want to purchase from you again. And again, they're going to also feel safe as they're making that decision. Um, Businesses that sell products on a recurring basis tend to focus tend to be focusing a little bit more time and attention on this right now. A lot of software as a service businesses, like their entire focus is driving, like minimizing churn, so preventing people from leaving their subscription. And I always think about this in that same vein as like, hey, how do we think about like our business in terms of, if we're a subscription based product, how do we keep people coming back and back and back? and just purchasing from us on a reoccurring basis, because at that point we're trying to minimize churn. We want to keep things as stable as possible. We don't need to get them to convert that day, but hey, over the course of that lifetime, how do we make sure we offer the best experience possible, the best value adds possible? They're going to make them want to keep coming back as kind of a baseline, because typically with a product or service, they're going to need to purchase that product again eventually, or as a gift, or for a million different reasons. And when they're doing that, they might as well come back to you. And that's what makes this powerful, is they're again coming back and purchasing from you multiple times. And also right now, again, this is spring 2022. Since last year, ads have becoming since iOS update 14.5. Ads have become, again, a little bit more volatile, a little bit less cost effective. And basically the third-party data that we were relying on in terms of driving like more effective cost of acquisition is going away to a large extent. So we don't have that same access to data, so it's becoming a little bit more expensive to consistently acquire new customers. So we can't, again, operate that great vending machine we had, because we can't have unlimited budgets to bring people in. So again, a little bit more of a dogfight, but this is where the retention component plays a large role, is because we can't acquire those customers if we know that, hey, we're going to see a large enough lifetime value on the other side that it's going to be profitable for us to even even lose money on the first one or two transactions, because if we know that lifetime value is going to be high enough, it's going to compensate for that and a lot more. So it gives us a little bit more flexibility and freedom to know that we're trying to drive. Again, we're not maximizing our ROAS all the time. We're maximizing our lifetime value, which is going to be a completely different indicator and looked at through a completely different lens. But again, it's easy to get caught up on ROAS because you can look at it every day, to be honest. And then also, what really kind of makes this unique too is typically if we can get people purchasing more frequently and more consistently, we can drive higher average order values each time. And if we can, again, get them to purchase more with each basket, with each product purchase, that's, again, a lot more valuable customer. And it's a really cool way of looking at it, because it's really unique and different. So people, again, like I mentioned, recently had a talk at a conference talking about why retention is new acquisition. And again, people always think, should I focus on acquisition? Should I focus on retention? Again, where my answer is going to be, as any marketer would be, it depends. So thinking about where your business is at, do you need to be focusing more time and attention on the acquisition side or on the retention side? So if you're a newly established business, if you're just getting your feet on the ground, yes, focus a lot of time on acquisition. Acquisition is going to be something you really can't have. Retention doesn't work if you don't have any customers. You can't retain customers you don't have. So you need to be bringing people in the door. So again, spending a good amount of time on the acquisition side. The retention side should also not be ignored completely too, because once you have them in the door, you want them purchasing again and again and again. So your investment in retention maybe is 70% focused on your marketing investments, maybe 70% focused on acquisition and 30% focused on retention. Retention is typically going to be a little bit more profitable, but you also need to be budgeting time and resources to be doing that. So again, it's not free, so you need to be allocating that in your budget. But basically understanding, hey, how do we look at this, and how do we look at this through the strategic lens of a marketer? I always think about, hey, retention versus acquisition. I always kind of go back to fundamentals here. So for e-commerce businesses and businesses just in general, there's three ways to geometrically grow a business. You can increase the number of customers, you can increase the average order values, or you can increase the lifetime value of the customer, or sorry, the number of purchases from that customer. Of those three, which ones do you think that marketers focus most of their time and attention on? Give you some time here. Give you some time. Do you have it? Do you have it? Which one's sexiest? Number of customers. Number one, yeah. Number of customers is so sexy because you're bringing new people in. You're engaging new people. You're building an audience. It's so much fun. It's great. But is that the most profitable? Which one of those three doesn't come with an acquisition cost? Yeah, number 2 and 3. Average order value doesn't come with an acquisition cost, and also number of purchases doesn't come with an acquisition cost. So understanding, hey, all three of those are going to geometrically double the revenue of my business. If I can double any one of those three, which one should I really focus and pull the lever on? Understanding, hey, if I can increase the lifetime value or the number of purchases somebody's going to be making over the course of that lifetime, that's a really valuable number for me to be looking at. And knowing that, hey, not every sale is created equal, not every sale is as profitable as others, but this is an area where I can focus time and attention on and really use it to grow my business. And that's why we love email so much, is because, hey, email and SMS too, to a large extent, is the most effective way to consistently retain customers, because you're building a relationship, you're aligning that relationship with a way that, again, is hopefully going to add value to that customer, and they're seeing value on the other side through your products and services, but also hopefully through your marketing. Again, like I said, we're starting to see more businesses spend time and attention on this because they know it's important. This is becoming a hotter and hotter topic in marketing. Understanding of lifetime value of the customer is becoming more and more important because, like I mentioned earlier, we don't have a never-ending supply of cheap ads anymore. So we really have to be a lot more strategic in the way we look at our marketing and the way we look at growing our business. But again, like I said, there's always going to be a need for both. So you can't have one without the other. And again, building both in a system that's complementary is also really valuable for your business too. It's really smart because suddenly good marketing doesn't have to happen in a vacuum, and good strategy doesn't have to happen in a vacuum. Focusing on your best customers in terms of driving lifetime value, it helps you also align, like, hey, when I have a high lifetime value customer, what does that customer look like? What does that customer do? What does their first purchase look like? And then we can extrapolate that and say, hey, on the acquisition side, how do we pull more of those customers in? How do we focus on acquiring those customers? Because we know they're going to end up in high lifetime value transactions. Those are the customers we want to be bringing in the door. So suddenly, on insights we get downstream help our marketing upstream, and those really kind of benefit the business as a whole. But that retention side really helps us understand, hey, who are going to be the best customers we want to focus on, because if we can drive a higher lifetime value, that's a lot more profitability, that's a lot more consistent revenue, and everybody wins. So retention doesn't always get the I always joke, like, retention isn't always getting the attention it deserves in e-commerce because it's not sexy. One of the things I always say is, like, retention is kind of like the person your parents wanted you to date in high school. They're stable, they're reliable, they're smart, and they're probably going to grow up to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. Got a good head on their shoulders, but they're not sexy. Yeah, they don't have a leather jacket. They don't drive a motorcycle the same way that the acquisition does. You can't look at that sexy ROAS every day. You can't. This is investing in the long term versus investing in the short term. And again, just having a short term mindset can end. I've seen it more than I'd like to in the e-commerce space. It's a really fun, exciting space, and again, thrives on adrenaline and innovation. But I don't always think that the focus on acquisition is the healthiest place to be looking in terms of a focus for e-commerce businesses, because it can get very transactional and hurt businesses in the long term. So focusing on the retention side and spending a good amount of time and attention on retention really helps businesses grow in a long-term holistic way. And again, once that business is hopefully established enough, they can gradually focus more and more attention on retention, where they're not focused so much time and budget and attention on the acquisition side, because they have other channels building up on that throughout the course of their marketing. So benefits of retention marketing in e-commerce. Let's name some of these. Greater lifetime value. That's an attractive number. Lifetime value. I like you. That's one of the places that, again, we're spending so much time and attention because it's so valuable. Number two, profitability. So again, every one of those transactions is going to come without that acquisition cost. So suddenly you take out the cost of acquisition and take out your ads cost, and that's, again, a lot more profitable customer, especially if you're a D2C brand. You're suddenly making heroic margins on that transaction because you're the one creating it, and you don't have the distribution channels that a lot of other businesses do. So you make a lot more money. It's great. The first party data that you're collecting also allows you to scale and grow in ways that are unique and different, because you're going to be able to serve that customer in better ways each time, because you're knowing more about them. You're able to serve them in unique ways. you're able to give them what they need at different times. So you connect the data, the content of the data and the products and the content you may be providing on your site with the context of that person's individual preferences and needs, and you really have something great there, because ideally you can tee them up for, again, long-term success. Scalability. This is an area where if you can build a retention system through email automations and through good customer interactions and good customer experience, this is where this scales up with your business directly. And again, you bring more customers in the door, that email automation system is going to scale up with them at each different level, because you've built out an understanding of what that customer lifecycle looks like, and you can ideally align with that to make for the most valuable customer experience possible. Um, I mentioned, again, first party data. This is where that owning your own audience and, like, again, owning an email list, owning an audience, owning a customer list, this is super powerful, because again, you're not building your house on rented land, you're building your house on owned land. The place where you can build your house, you can get customers to come back over and over and over, is a lot more valuable than, again, continually getting them to purchase on Amazon with you losing 15% margin off the top just for a finder's fee, and then also anything you're spending on ads or yeah, it can add up very fast. And then predictability here. This is where a business can have a lot more strong and stable foundation, having basically an understanding of, hey, how much money am I going to bring in from repeat customers every month? We always measure this in terms of your retention, in terms of like, how much revenue are you driving from repeat customers? Not just that, again, repurchase rate on Shopify. This is how much repeat revenue you're driving each month. It's helping you to get a good understanding of how much bottom line revenue am I actually driving? What am I doing? How am I operating? And how am I moving that number forward, ideally? So predictability is really powerful, because suddenly you know that you're going to have less volatility there if Amazon changes something, if Facebook changes something, or Google changes something. You're going to have less volatility in your marketing, because you know that you ideally have people coming through and you have a stable foundation of revenue you can really depend on. What I really love about the retention side too is you're creating a passionate audience, and eventually you're going to hopefully turn that audience into a passionate community, which is so cool, because hey, you get to really be a unique part of their life. And for so many brands, they get to really take themselves out of that commodity space and separate themselves from other businesses they're competing against because of that relationship. Again, that relationship, that brand, is what allows you to charge more for the exact same product. Again, that's the value add that you bring, and that's what you want to be doing here, is be, again, creating an audience, building a relationship, and getting them to purchase again and again and again. I talk about customer lifecycle optimization. This is where, if we understand what our customer lifecycle is, we can do some really cool things in terms of automations. Customer lifecycle optimization also really helps us understand, hey, how do we get our hands around what behaviors we want to see, and how do we use email and use different nudges to drive that, to create the behaviors we want to see. And then again, like I mentioned, strong brands really thrive here because they're not playing the commodity game. They're not worried about playing like who's got the lowest cost, who's got the fastest fulfillment. They're playing their own game here, and that's where the strong brands are really winning here, and that's what's making those kind of examples really cool to see, because that's where they can really differentiate themselves from the rest of the group, from the rest of the pack. So retention marketing strategies. So how to think about different ways to kind of approach retention marketing. Like I said earlier, thinking about your customer experience. If you can align that customer experience as best as possible, and you can make it as seamless, as valuable, and hopefully as helpful as possible, then that's kind of your 10,000 foot view goal. One of our favorite ways to drive this is, or one of our favorite strategies, is aligning content that adds value beyond the transaction. So through content, we can, again, build a drumbeat of good quality, consistent email campaigns that hopefully add value contextually, and also just in evergreen ways too, but hopefully help to make your customers engaged, hopefully help them use the product you're selling better than they would have before, and then basically adding value beyond the transaction through educating, empowering, and informing them so they can, again, enjoy the product or service you're using, but also be able to live that lifestyle, or enjoy things that kind of complement or supplement your product too. So you're adding value to them and you're building an audience, and that audience is hopefully like they're going to miss you when you go. Like if you didn't send an email for a month, like if the people that are knocking on your door, like, hey, I wish I had more content, those are the people you're wanting to create. You want them to be looking forward to your content, not just in a self-serving content that doesn't really help anybody except for your business. You're adding value. You're being of that community, not just at. You're talking with the community, not just at the community. Also, the community aspect of things is it gives people a place to belong and engaged. This is where this can be really unique and really different. I think a lot of small businesses have a unique position and a unique opportunity here because we have democratized resources to do this. Like I can build a community of people around the world around topics that I'm interested in. If I'm an expert in this topic, I can build a community around it. Businesses can do the same thing here too in being, hey, how do we help educate, inform, and empower our communities to use their products better? How do we help them ride horses better? How do we help them ride their bikes better? How do we help them find different cycling groups or different groups to connect with? And this is where like some of these brands can be really powerful in the way they can work to bring people together. It's extremely cool to see in the way that the small businesses that really can own a niche are the ones that are really thriving in so much of the space because they have a passionate community and audience, and they're connecting people to feel like they're, again, part of something bigger than just themselves. Also, lifecycle automations. This is another part of one of those strategies we really believe into. This is where, again, the lifecycle, if we can understand that customer journey really well, we can align different automations around different parts of the lifecycle to see what create the behaviors we want to see at each one of those stages. Strong onboarding. This is another area like good retention starts with the first email you send, or good retention starts with your welcome sequence for email marketers. Because hey, like if you can, the first touch point from the first touch point on, you're creating the customer you want to see, and that's a really easy way to do that. Just to start that early with the onboarding sequence, and again creating the customer you really want to see. And then the strong brand. This comes after a long hard road of travel because it's not easy to do. But again, the strong brand really separates you from the commodity space and really helps to differentiate a business. So having a strong brand is like, again, a downstream effect of a lot of the work we're doing here, the experience we're talking about. But a strong brand is going to also help that retention system because they feel like that brand is a value add. And like I said before, like a brand is what is basically the thing that allows you to charge more for the same product. And then a loyalty program also is going to help to function to reward people for purchasing. That's a really easy way for a lot of businesses to do this. And getting people to purchase again and again and again is going to be more valuable for them. They may be earning points, they may be earning rewards, they may be getting exclusive access to things. So all of those are going to, again, feed into that process. So in closing, like we talked about a lot of areas of retention, a lot of different components of it, like basically understanding, hey, this is something that can be really overlooked more frequently than I'd like to see. Truthfully, but for marketers, this is one of the strongest ways for you to grow a business. It's going to be coming without the acquisition cost on the front end, and also you're going to be able to develop the relationships and great experiences for your customers on the other side. So this is where you can go, as opposed to a mile wide, you can go a mile deep with those customers and really do some really fascinating and cool things. So building a strong retention system is going to be crucial for the long-term growth of any e-commerce business. So that's where we're always saying, like, start this now, start this yesterday, get this going, because you're going to thank yourself later. Again, like bad analogies aside, it's like investing in your 401k. You're not gonna really see the benefits of that right away, but you'll thank yourself when you're 65. So, and if I missed anything here, or if there are any gaping holes, let me know about it, guys. Comment below. Would love to hear feedback. If you found this valuable, would love to know about it. We're always looking for suggestions or feedback, so let us know. Keep us posted, and you'll have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.